Hello, I'm Jan Mulvey and you're watching the Redmen TV.
Hello, welcome to the Redmen TV. It's the Uncensored match build-up show ahead of Liverpool taking on Swansea this Monday night. I'm joined by Chris Pajak and John Mason to talk through the game. First and foremost, Chris, Swansea, basically our favourite team this season. They've provided us with some good wins for us, and they've beaten people that we'd really like them to beat.
Yes, they beat Man United recently, didn't they? Tough game though for us, I think. I'm quite impressed with the job that Monk's doing at the moment, and you know we have beaten them twice this year. Obviously we battered them at Anfield 4-1. Fabianski got a bit of a howler during that game, but I expect it'll be a tough fixture for us this week.
I think they're tough on the home ground, aren't they? Even though they're starting to drop off a little bit, you know, because they did really well earlier in the season, didn't they? They were one of the teams that we were chasing. Mm-hmm. And then they've started to slip a little, but they're still difficult at home, as United found out.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing about Swansea...
it is again.
Let's not check the news this time.
How many people are dead this week?
Who's dead this time?
Yeah.
Actually, do know who's dead this time.
And the thing about the Swansea for me is, I mean, obviously we know Gomi had his issues last week. You know, what's weird is that he's got like a fainting condition, hasn't he? So he does this all the time. It's like have anyone ever seen Juice Bigelow? Yeah, like the narcoleptic and that, like, you know what I mean? But it's scary shit. But you know, all joking aside, on a pure football sense, is he enough for them? You know, in an attacking sense.
Losing Boney was massive for them, wasn't it? He was brilliant. Like Gomes isn't the player Boney is. I mean, he never will be. He's 29 now, Gomes, isn't he? So
I sort of disagree with that. You know, I always thought Gomes looked a much better player. He looked much more mobile, much more threatening. Certainly at Anfield this year, he looked much more threatening.
Absolutely, but we had Boney in our back pockets, just us. You know, we weren't even on the pitch. That's how easy it was to mark him.
But that fainting thing, I understand now why we've never heard of him before and why he costs so little.
Yeah.
Because that's the problem.
Well, that's it. Like,
obviously, Swansea took a bit of a punt on him.
He's never. I don't think he was ever going to have the goal return that Boney has.
Possibly not. I don't know.
But I think, as my dad points out, I think it's right that Boney did nothing at Anfield in that game. He came on and he caused us real problems, you know. And
he scored in the Capital One Cup game, didn't he?
Yeah, no, he's a smashing little player. But I think the question is obviously you had Boney and Sigurdsson had performed such a good partnership in the first half of the season. How do you make up for that? And that might be their major concern between now and the end of the season. I have no great in-depth knowledge on Swansea, but do they have enough in terms of, not even just for this game, but you know, to really maintain even like a European challenge for this season?
I have a picture of Brendan ringing Gary Monk up and saying, "Look, we'll play Skirtle if you play Gomes, or we'll leave him out if you leave him." Either that, or there's a nurse on the touchline wait.
Well, there's a big question over our defence, isn't it? Because you know, obviously Martin Skirtle got his clock cleaned last week. He gave us the big Evel Knievel thumbs up, so we know he's all right. How all right is he likely to be? I mean, would you risk him?
Yeah, I think he starts. I think he's got to start after what
I
happened.
think it was just his wife wanted a few days away in Nice or Cannes or somewhere, wasn't it?
There's a film festival on or something.
Yeah, he's obviously
gone
up in the world from taking it to the tavern on a Friday afternoon. But I think that's the big question, because look, that back three for us the other week that ended the game against Blackburn is, I mean, that's a terrifying back three. Kolo Toure, flanked either side by Glenn Johnson and Dejan Lovren.
Glenn Johnson played as a right back.
Basically.
The whole game.
Yeah,
Rodgers was fuming at him, you know, about his positioning, and rightfully so. He was basically as high up the pitch as Markovic. Stood there, holding hands on the fucking sideline.
Yeah, maybe that was Markovic's issue, like someone standing.
Crowded me.
Well, no, it's like someone stood looking over your shoulder, isn't it? Like you're just very uncomfortable all the time.
Glenn Johnson, close talker.
What, Glenn? Step off, Glenn Johnson. Get back in position. But yeah, I mean, obviously Skirtle. I think Skirtle's been our best defender this year. Anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would certainly play him. I'd be concerned if we don't play him, and I would certainly want Joe Allen back in the middle.
Yeah. You know. But for the rest of the back three, then Mamadou Sakho, you can put your 45 minutes for the English.
Yeah, I think it'll be a game too soon for him, to be honest. I could totally understand if he did throw him in, but I just think Lovren will play again this week.
I'm not sure why you would get half a game for the under-21s if he wasn't going to play. I hope he does play.
Yeah,
I mean, that says you're the guy, and we're going to play you until your form drops.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, there's certain players I think who do automatically come back in. For me, anyway, Dejan Lovren's not done enough in his time in that position to say, has Dejan Lovren been anywhere near as good as Sakho was when he was fitting in that team? So, and Lovren is, as much as we've gone on about this in the past, was a left-sided centre back of the two. It doesn't look a left-sided centre back of the three, and we've talked about like how it maybe affects the balance of the side, having to play right-footed balls down the left channel to Moreno, whereas for whatever you may think about Sakho and the style in which he plays his passes, he's fucking accurate.
Oh God, I'm not arguing that he's not the best option. I just don't think Rodgers will do it this weekend.
Yeah.
That's my thinking.
Interesting on that. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below on that. Would you throw Mamadou Sakho back in that? He was on the bench last week. He's had some time for the unders there. Does he go straight back in? Is his ability and his form prior to injury enough that he goes back in based solely on that, or is it a case that Lovren has to do something horrifically bad, or injured or suspended or whatever in order to lose his place? What do you mean? For
me, it's Sakho straight away, and I think he'll go back in.
And Emre Can's got to come back in.
And Emre Can go back in the back three. And I would put Joe Allen in, as I said, but at some point he's going to put Steven Gerrard back in, isn't it? At some point. And I don't
the All-Star game.
maybe. You organise that, Stevie, and when that's done,
maybe that's why he's picked the team.
Have you seen it? Have you seen that video? Jamie Carragher just doesn't give a shit, does he?
I haven't seen it.
It is comedy gold. Go and watch it. It's on the Liverpool YouTube channel. It is actually comedy gold.
Yeah, I just love that. I love that the potential of that team, like the greatest Liverpool team.
Oh, mate, some of it's brilliant. He's talking about his defenders, and basically Carragher goes, yeah, I'll take Arbeloa. No, in fact, Steven Gerrard picks Brad Jones, and Carragher laughs in his face, and then picks Pepe Reina and goes, I think my team started better than you. And then it's just comedy gold throughout the video.
Fantastic. There you go. For more fantasy team picking, do check out the Fancy Footy Forfeit Challenge this week, which promises to be very, very interesting on the YouTube channel. I'll say no more. Ultimately, maybe that's how Gerrard sees his way of getting back into the Liverpool team. That's it. He's got to go and prove himself in that match. Put himself back into Brendan Rodgers. It's going to be a struggle with his midfield. It's him, Xabi Alonso, and Kev Nolan in the centre. So there's not much legs in the middle of the park there. I've actually not even seen the team with the Kev Nolan, because I've gone on this a few times. But that's what I used to talk to his dad and his uncle about. We used to have a bevy and talk about like this dream we all had of a Gerrard Nolan midfield for Liverpool back in like 2006, and how just amazingly terrifying that would have been at the time for oppositions. Now there's probably younger fans who go, oh. Whereas at the time that would have been an absolutely amazing centre mid pair.
They're just going to sit in front of the back four, aren't they, and just ping balls all over the pitch.
Yeah, pretty much.
In
fairness, they've got Suarez, Torres and Henry up front, and Carragher's playing centre back on the other side. So I think Jamie's team's going to lose, to be honest.
Jamie Carragher will be Thierry Henry. I bet it's like flashbacks to Nam for him.
He had the chance to pick Henry and pick Dirk out.
This is all you want to need to know about the mentality of Jamie Carragher.
But no, do you know what? I think Jamie Carragher either wants to kick lumps at a Thierry Henry, or he's looking at it and going, I'm going to get players who are fit and can play football still. And to be fair, Dirk Kuyt is not going to do anything less than give 110% in that game. Is that Dirk Kuyt is like, I know we're going rather tangent on this, but this is the Uncensored match build up to the charity game on the 29th of March.
That's one of them too. But I don't know. You know what? You're right. Let's right. Okay. So back to Swansea and the Uncensored match build-up show. And what we were talking about prior to going on about the best midfield in the world, Joe Allen. I think this is a massive game for him. We've seen him start to step up to the plate. He's put a couple of really good performances in his last two appearances. He's going back to his old club. There was a case to be made a month ago that Joe Allen could well have been back on his way there or on his way to somewhere else, not good enough to be a Liverpool player. He's got to go out there and show that he's too good for Swansea City.
Yeah, and well, we said weeks ago that he needed a run before he would show anything. And in fact, we sat here saying, well, he's not really that good, is he? He's not bad, but... And yet we've all changed our mind, haven't we, over the last few weeks, because he's got better and better with every game, and we really missed him the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
6 games on the bounce he played for us before he got that hip strain. And you know what, by the end of it, he was getting man of the match the last 2 for me.
Yeah.
So he was integral, and as John says, we missed him massively at the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, any other notable changes?
I think Sterling goes in at right wing back for Markovic.
Yeah.
I think Lallana
comes back in on that.
Yeah, I mean, what struck me the other day was that Sterling is wasted on the wing. I mean, he was our best player, he was our best defender, he was our best midfield player, he was probably our best attacker the other day, but I'd much rather see him running through the middle.
Yeah.
He causes so much trouble. And I think Sturridge would really benefit from that.
I just that obviously that issue we have with players available to him at the moment. Jordan Ibe would. It's strange that he's not even done that much. He's not even played that many games.
But he's the guy for that, isn't
he? But he's that. Markovic's form's dropped off a cliff. Moreno's clearly our best, most consistent of those players. And it's whether. Well,
you see, Rodgers is sort of juggling with those top front end players, isn't he? His talent, if you like, the Sturridge, Sterling, Coutinho, and Lallana. He wants to get them on the pitch. That means that one of them has to be sacrificed, and if that means that Sterling has to play on the wing, well, he's going with that. Well, I'd rather he made a bolder choice and said, right, someone's going to have to sit on the bench while the other 3 go through the middle.
Yeah, I think the thing is when it boils down to it, it's always going to be Sterling to do that job. I know Lallana does it in game. I think it matters less on 75 minutes when legs are starting to tire. But from minute 1, Adam Lallana's lack of pace just would be leaving rabidly exposed down that side. And Sterling, we've seen Sterling play it right back in the Notts County game in the League Cup, and he was the best right back at the club for half an hour.
He's probably perfect for a wing back, but at the same time, he's also perfect going through the middle.
Yeah. He's wasted there, isn't he, ultimately?
But this is the thing, isn't it? You look at the options we've got available to us. Coutinho's not being moved for anyone.
No,
absolute linchpin to what we do at the moment. And you're right, it's a shame that we have to make that call. And I think if I was fit, again, Markovic was making himself more of an option, you would see one from Lallana and Sterling probably on the bench, which is no bad thing. There's nothing wrong with that. That's the beauty of having a squad, isn't it?
Yeah, they've got to change, occasionally. And you've got to have Sturridge on the pitch. I mean, he showed against Blackburn that he had 2 shots. One saved by the keeper and one which went wide. But no one else would have had those shots in our side. He just got in the right position and he hit a shot, and that's gold, isn't it? Someone who will actually shoot from difficult positions in the box.
Yeah. Well, it's his job. He does do a job.
And no one else knows how to do that. Sterling doesn't know how to do that.
No,
that's not what it is.
Yeah, I think the thing about that, we need to get ourselves back to it. And having Markovic on the bench is no bad thing at all, I don't think, because, again, he is still, and we've forgotten almost to some extent, that he is an option for those attacking positions if we need to freshen things up. Again, he needs to get back into some semblance of form. It's not going to do any harm to get him on the firing line for a bit. But, we've seen the bench in recent weeks and still got Barini, Lambert and Balotelli and no other attacking options other than forwards.
When we're playing one up top.
Yeah, it limits what you can do. It's why we have to start going to 2 up top, and I don't think as much as everyone's been clamouring for it all season, I don't think we've seen any real evidence that it's not worked, has it? You wouldn't say that's it. We talk about
everyone keeps pointing to the Tottenham game, but it was one game at the end of the day, wasn't it?
And I wouldn't even say they played.
Was it Besiktas he played 2 up top and it was hopeless?
Yeah.
Because there was no midfield behind them.
Yeah.
It's no good having 2 forwards if you haven't got someone who's going to create for them.
I mean, Blackburn, we ended up with push Balotelli.
I think you look at the people we've got in the squad and the fact that we've got Lallana, Coutinho and Sterling to play behind. That says to me that we're always looking to play with 2 behind 1. And the fact that that's the way it is. I mean, if we play 2 up top, we're going to basically just play Coutinho there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then you then shoe on. And as I always said there, what happens? What's more attacking than that? There's nothing. We don't have any more attacking options than that. there's no new formation you can go to make that as a more attacking side. So you're only ever going to take men out of the box and put more attacking midfielders on anyway. I don't mind it. I don't mind it as an option, because Balotelli's looked lively. Maybe coming on into those kind of positions.
He's been okay. I mean, was it Mark Lawrence and spat his dummy out over him or something the other day? Someone had a real rant about him.
Was a bit miserable. Or something relating to football.
Yeah. Anyway, I think he's been doing okay, but I wouldn't want to see him as our only option up front again. He's not a Sturridge substitute, is he? You don't leave Sturridge out and say, we play Mario this week and give him a rest. You think, no, good.
But you can see by the fact that Sterling is still our second choice.
Second choice, yeah.
Centre forward.
Going back to what we said before, Sterling is going to be fine playing right wing back, but he's still not going to be as good as he would be if he was somewhere else.
Well, here's a question then. Could we see Sterling start up front in this game? We saw it away at Southampton.
I don't think so, not with 8 days rest. I think Sturridge should be even better than he was.
I think Sturridge needs games. He still looks rusty to me. And I know, was it Roger saying that by Blackburn he'd be back to his best or something?
It looks like he's still a few games off.
He lacks that real sharp.
I think that's good. You're right though, to some extent. He's come back in. I think we've managed him quite well, and now he's had a week off, fully recharged. Hopefully, in this, almost like that was like your test period. Maybe this is the beginning of it all. But what would be interesting though, if we don't play Sturridge and we do opt to go for Sterling up front, that it suggests it's a tactical approach rather than managing Sturridge, because I don't think you can argue with the performance we put in against Southampton. It was one of the most complete we've had of the season. Away performances.
At the moment, I'd agree with that. I think we're playing better football when Sterling's up top, but I don't think we need to play. If Sturridge is firing, we don't need to play as good football. Sturridge will just score you more goals than Sterling will. We've been playing brilliantly up until the final third. We need Sturridge to start banging in goals.
I mean, the other thing is that Swansea are not going to crowd their box. Sturridge will get more room in this game than he did last week. And in a lot of the games he's played, and a lot of people around him, I think he'll get more room and therefore he'll score goals. There's a tip for you.
I'm looking forward to it. Mainly because less so away. I think we've not actually beaten them away from home in 30.
It's about 35 years, 34 years, or something like that. But then we've only played them about 7 times in that period.
Well, that's another one of these things is that we're talking about this run that we're on, and look, Liverpool are going to drop points between now and the end of the season, but right here and now we're so close to being right firmly back in the conversation.
I think we could be in 4th if we win this game, because Man United got Spurs at the weekend, and we only need a draw or a Spurs win, and we can basically get into 4th place with a win. And that's why this game for me, and we'll say it every week from now until the end of the season, is massive. And it's going to be the biggest game of the season so far, and we will say it. And it's because Arsenal have basically got West Ham. I think they nailed on at the Emirates to beat them. Chelsea have got Burnley, is it? Or is that Man City that have got Burnley? Chelsea got Southampton, so that's a tough game for them. Man United and Spurs playing each other opens up something, and with us having known all the other results, there's going to be a lot of pressure on our boys.
Well, absolutely. I think the pressure's the big thing. I think the worst thing is almost historically, that would make me fancy this game. I fancy our chances a little bit less in some regard there, because regardless of how it goes,
live on telly Monday night, when everyone else has dropped points. So no,
but that's
historically this season we've done really well when we've known the other team's results.
We've been better, particularly obviously.
The beauty of our team now is that we're very difficult to beat. We're not conceding goals, therefore you've got a chance of winning every game. In that case.
Is Mignolet now is he in pole position for the Golden Gloves at the moment? Don't know if anyone else. If you know, actually, let us know in the comments below.
I know I saw someone today saying he played more minutes than anyone else this season. I thought to myself, didn't he get dropped or something?
they just erased Brad Jones. But it does. It feels like a fever dream, doesn't it? Like
that scale 10-minute injury. That's what that accounted towards. It's just taking over the top.
There was a point of this season where we were shit. We were playing 4-5-1 with Ricky Lambert as our sole striker, and we ended up with Brad Jones in goal. What the what the frick? And I was, you know what I mean? It feels crazy.
Because I was thinking the other day when we were playing Burnley, I said to the guy next to me, didn't Jones start the game, play against Burnley in the away leg? And of course he started, but he didn't finish, did he?
Yeah, that was the one. But that was the one when Mignolet let the ball run out of play when he was meant to be kicking it. Like, yeah.
Still not quite forgiving him for that.
Well, that seems it seems mental. Imagine, because it was such a mental thing to do, that to try and think, nah, maybe I'm remembering it wrong. There's no way that he was so. Because again, if you'd never seen Mignolet, if you'd only watched Mignolet in the last like 6 weeks or something like that, and then said he did that like the week before that, you'd be like,
if you show a clip of Mignolet letting the ball run out before he kicks it, and then flick to a Mignolet coming and heading the ball on the edge of his box. two different guys. Yeah.
It's right, isn't it? Well, may I continue? I mean, like I said, I think you're dead right in that the fact that we've made ourselves hard to beat, and I'm going to keep saying it on these shows until it clicks. But that's great. But we need to start finding that way to get more goals, because I think as we discovered Blackburn, I think we totally ran out of steam and ideas by the time we got to the Blackburn game. We'd won the 2 games prior to that with worldies. Essentially, you can't rely on Phil Coutinho and Jordan Henderson to stick in long range shots.
Although my fantasy football team this week might be.
Okay. I think this is we definitely need to find. I think Sturridge is going to be key to that, as you say. We've got to get him backfiring. And we've seen. I think he just needs to. I think that goal he scored the other week was fine. Good little piece of movement, good headed finish. But what he needs is just to get the ball in and around the 18-yard box, shift it, and slot it in the bottom corner. And I think
first goal he scored when he came back, that's exactly what you want to see. Yeah. Drop his shoulder, go past someone, bang in the net, and he hasn't been doing that since those first couple of games, but that'll come. So
I think for me the most important thing for him is I want to see him sprint. I want to see him
open up,
yeah, because that's what he's not been doing, and that's where he used to get so many chances from.
I wonder, because that makes me wonder whether, again, is it just part of him being told you're still in the last phase of your rehabilitation, so do not stretch. Don't stretch yourself. There's no need to do it. Give it a few weeks and you'll be able to do it. Or is it like he's never going to be able to do it again, and he's been told that if you do that, you will. That is why you'll. Because that's my big concern over Sturridge, and is that if he loses that yard of pace, which because he hasn't had that yard of pace since he's been back. He's got great talent, and I would back him to adapt this game. But is he the player that we need if he doesn't have that yard of pace? And I hope it's a question we don't have to answer, to be perfectly honest. But that's what I really want to see. Hopefully this 8 days is giving him that time just to move on to the next step.
Even if you sort of disregard that, next season, if we're playing 2 games a week, is he the man for us then? Because he needs a 2 days recovery and stuff, doesn't he? It's a tough.
We discovered this year that we haven't got anyone who directly replaces Sturridge.
You know what the worst thing about it is? It was like, I turn my phone on silent. I'll tell them to tell the phones on silent. No. Don't be condescending because they do it every week. Lo and behold, Matt. On silent.
I'm going to ring him now.
I am on. Yeah, what were we saying?
I have no idea. We're talking about some charity match at the 29th of March, I think.
Yeah, I think the point about Daniel Sturridge, he never used to play 90 minutes for us last season anyway. He was always withdrawn. We've seen him withdrawn on a hat-trick.
But we've said, if he gets injured, we have no one to replace him. We've known that all season, and it's evident because we struggled to find something. Eventually we lighted upon Sterling as a replacement, but he's clearly not. Mm-hmm. So I would expect in the summer that they're going to have to find someone who can replace, not just play with him, but can replace him if need be.
Yeah, I think it'd be. I mean, I say we'll see because if they've got onto the root cause of all his injury problems, he's still going to get injuries. Every player gets injured apart from Luis Suarez, who was a fucking robot, like a hungry robot. But you're right, and I mean, hopefully that's what Origi is. And I know, based on his form for Lille this season, doesn't thrill you, doesn't fill you with confidence. But he's a similar mould, isn't he? He's got pace, he's got power. He can play across the front line if needs be. It's just whether that's enough, and you're like, can Sturridge
just doesn't know whether he's been affected by the fact that he's actually a Liverpool player and doesn't really want to be.
Well, I think I read that. I thought that come up this week, didn't he? That they seemed to think that turned his head a little bit,
because you can tell some of the noises he made coming up to January about, well, if they want me early, then blah blah blah. You know, if he was happy where he was, he wouldn't have even said that, would he?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Well, we'll have to see. I genuinely hope that it is just.
And
Sturridge just shaking off the ring.
He's also really young, you know, so he's not going to get his goal scoring peak for 2 or 3 years. Yeah.
But yeah, like I say, we'll have to see. I don't want to have this discussion next week. I hope that Daniel Sturridge just plays well, skins Ashley Williams for pace or whatever, and slots it, which shouldn't hopefully be too hard if he's not getting kicked in the chest by him or whatever it is like. So okay then, let's have some score predictions. Dan, what do you think?
I'll say 2-1, although I'm really hoping we get another clean sheet.
I think 3-1. John Joe with one at both ends. He's just
the man for the occasion.
We just doesn't John Joe. I love him. I think he's brilliant.
He's fucking mental.
Yeah, he is. I am. Like I said, you got to mention the other week, didn't you? We said that Emre Can in midfield these last couple of times he's had that, which has this very Shelby-like qualities at times. It's like someone who believes he's a much better player than he actually is. And I think John Joe was actually. I always thought John Joe was a pretty good player. Like, I had some great potential. But you know that, like, we always said at the time that what he had everything Henderson lacked, and that was mainly just like that sheer belief that he was as good as Steven Gerrard, even though his career hadn't backed up.
He knew where the goal was when Henderson had no clue, did he, until quite recently. But Emre Can, I think, is a better player.
Yeah, I think all round. But what I mean is, by that
he will be a better player in a year or two.
He's got that, like, you know, that thing where he picks his head up and for absolutely no reason plays a 35-yard pass out of play. It's, you know what I mean? Because he's decided that he's good. It's like no. Play a short pass. Play one forward by all means. But just keep it ticking over, lad. But I like to say, I like him. I just don't want him to be good on Monday. He can go back to being good and scoring worldies against the teams that we don't like the week after. That'll be terrific.
What's your score prediction?
I really don't know. 1-0 to Liverpool. I'm happy with that.
Say that.
Yeah, I keep saying this. I hope this is the game where the attacking side of things clicks, and hopefully that rest period will have done them some good. You know, although
you're not confident that that's going to be the case.
Yeah, I don't see there's any point in you know what I mean. I'd like it to be a 3-0. I think I genuinely think it'll be one. I think it'll either be we'll really grind it out and just snatch it, and it'll be one of those like, thank God we managed to get a win there and keep it going, or it'll click. But that game when it clicks is gonna. I just still think it's gonna happen at some point. But because it's not happened yet, I've got no idea when that may come. Anyway, let me know your score predictions in the comments below. Again, going back to the original question, does Mamadou Sakho come in? And any thoughts on who plays maybe in the wing-back positions or behind the strikers? Is it Lallana going in? Would actually Brendan Rodgers consider just playing Sterling up front, a la Southampton? All those thoughts, anything else you want to discuss in the comments below. Anyway, give the video a thumbs up, check out the rest of the shows we did at RMTV. Question time, a subscriber show, listen to your questions and then answering them, which was dead good, so do go and check that out. As always, it's free for a month. What else are you going to do? Yada, yada, yada. It's boss, go and do it. Thanks very much, gents. Pleasure as always. And we'll see you for a live show on Monday night.